Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show with local celebrity hosts Steve-O and Rene. Sit back each week while Steve-O and Rene educate you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O and Rene with today's expert in their field.
How about Steve-O without Rene? She fizzled out on me again today. Actually, it's really not her fault because we have a morning show every morning, 7 to 10 a.m. We have to leave like at 5:15 every morning to go all the way out to West Palm Beach from Coral Springs. So if you want to feel sorry for us, that's fine. We'll let you do that. Hey, today we have one of our favorites. We have Tina Lewert with us, attorney Tina Lewert with us. If you'd like to watch the show today live, you can actually go to Tina's website. It's Lewert, LewertLaw.com. You can watch our live show today. We are going to talk about family law. And, wow, this is the holidays, so a little tough subject, but we're going to give you some great information today. We want to welcome expert attorney, Tina Lewert. Hi,
Hello.
Tina.
How you doing?
Good.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. And we're not going to get to see you Thanksgiving, so we want you to have a great Thanksgiving.
I'm excited the holidays are coming up. Very nice.
Yeah, I am too. And this week, no Thursday or Friday.
That's right. Right. Here, excuse, pardon me. I was just taking a selfie of myself with the on the air sign. And
cool.
I tried.
Did it come out good?
Yeah, it came out pretty good.
Wow. So, and I got to tell everybody, we have been trying to get the 5 to 6 hour for the last year, and a spot opened up, and we are moving our show to Thursdays from 5 to 6 starting next month. Anyhow, we're going to talk about family law today. And are you busier this time of year with the holidays?
Yes
or is
and
it
no.
Light?
Yes and no. You know, I'm busy with the cases that I currently have, the clients that I currently represent, because yes, there's frequently, unfortunately, some kind of issue pertaining to upcoming holiday time sharing, or sometimes disputes over that, and so I'm kind of like, my cell phone is on, so
right.
And that happens, but. I find that as far as, people ready to initiate their cases or get their divorce started, and understandably so, it's a little slower.
It is.
Yeah, and most family law attorneys will tell you that too. So because people want to. Holidays are a very warm, nice time, and especially for the children, and a lot of people like to wait until afterwards, I guess, to deal with those issues. Better.
So first of all, tell everybody about your firm and your background.
Sure. I'm a family law attorney. I specialize in the area of marital and family law. I'm board certified in that area, which means that the Florida Bar has designated that I am an expert in that field. And I've been practicing for 15 years. I am a sole practitioner, which means I'm the only attorney in my firm. I have staff, paralegals, but I am the only attorney handling the cases in my firm. And it's a good thing, I think, because we are able to give the clients a lot of personal attention. And, you really develop a very unique, one-on-one relationship with your divorce attorney when you go through this. So I kind of pride myself on being able to do that.
You have a lot to go through
when
someone's coming in wanting a divorce. That's got to be one of the toughest decisions. And I've had attorneys tell me, they said, you know what, it's so tough being a family attorney.
I think it's probably the toughest area of law to practice. It's not for everybody.
No.
But,
and how did you decide what made you go into family law?
I always had an interest in family law. I actually thought I was going to go a different way when I was in law school. Frankly, I didn't actually plan this. So, just for different reasons and different, I worked for a firm where I helped one of the partners do a couple of family law cases here and there. I said, hey, I want to help with those. I like that. And then when I decided to go out on my own, I just decided this was the field I was most interested in. And it's always appealed to me the most. It's very human, and you're dealing with issues that are of the most significance in people's lives, and I just, I think that it's an important area of law that needs good people, obviously. And so, here
One
I
of
am.
the things I love about your practice, because I talk to so many attorneys every day, this is all that you do. Because there's a lot of attorneys out there, we do criminal law, we do.
Yeah.
And I don't see how you can stay up with everything. And
I don't either.
it's like,
I don't
there's
want to.
enough just with family law.
One area is more than plenty, for most. And also, if you practice in one area of the law, it enables you to really develop the skill and the knowledge and just, like I said, the expertise and to be able to offer that to people. And so I think
I love that.
that's a great benefit.
So somebody walks into your office for the first time. What is the process?
Well, when they...
You're not there to talk them out of it or anything.
No, it depends. I mean, actually, that's an interesting point. I mean, attorneys are advisors, but also counselors. And so, I'm not a therapist. I'm not qualified to provide those services. But, I have a duty to make sure that
This is what they want.
that this is what they want and that the marriage is irretrievably broken. That's the legal phrase that we use in Florida to get a divorce. It means that the marriage is over and there's nothing the court can do to put it back together. But I have a duty to make sure of that. And I've had cases where, someone is on the fence or not sure, like, okay, they want to go to counseling. They want to try to put it back together. They think that something can be done to save the marriage. And so that's an important thing. And also, like when I've had people that are elderly, let's say,
Okay.
and I had a 57-year marriage, or
Wow.
46-year marriage, and so it's like, okay, this is. I think it's important. It's an ethical aspect of my practice to make sure that, okay, is this the right thing for you? So no, I'm not there to talk people out of it, but I'm also not there to pressure them into
Right,
it.
exactly.
And a lot of people do come to me, for a consultation, sometimes 2 consultations or 3, and because they're not sure, they're still trying to figure things out. They may decide they want to go to counseling. They may be in the middle of counseling, but they want to know, okay, if this doesn't work out, how's it going to go? What's going to happen? And so, I have no problem answering all the questions in the world when someone wants to do that. So, but I get a lot of that.
People out to like some type of mediation, or
It depends.
psychology, like a psychologist,
Well,
a marriage counselor. Do you ever?
If I'm asked for a name, absolutely. I've got a few people. I can give a list of names or a few people that I trust or that I've had other clients who had good experiences with those professionals. But sure, when people come to me and they say that they're in counseling, or especially someone who's going to individual therapy to just try and figure it out for themselves, I'm happy. That's great. Please, yes. I think anyone
Instead of going halfway through it and they decide I don't want to go through it.
or
anymore.
just, and even if they're going through it, it's important to really get that professional advice about, okay, how do I do this? How do I speak to my children about this? How do I handle my own, myself, my the demise of my own relationship? Because it's a death in a lot of ways. So I'm really glad when people, and just get through the divorce process itself, all the litigation, it's very stressful and it's very emotional. And so when you're going through that much, emotion and then the stress on top of it, as far as having to deal with all the requirements of the court and doing paperwork and coming to hearings and having to testify and meeting up with your spouse and the opposing attorney for mediation. These things are very, very stressful. So absolutely, I think everyone going through this should have a good therapist and continue to see them to just figure out how to get through it.
We actually got an email from somebody. Before I forget, I want to ask you, how do you know if you should do a prenup? And the follow-up to that was, how do you talk to someone that you're getting ready to marry about a prenup?
Yeah.
Apparently they're
The
having a
first
problem.
question is very easy. How do you know if you should get a prenup? If you're getting married, you should get a prenup. That's
Period.
it. If you breathe and you're getting married, you should get a prenup. Yeah,
No matter what your assets
No
are?
matter what your assets are, because especially sometimes those situations when you're younger and you're getting married, people, they may say, I don't have anything, but it doesn't matter. If you acquire things during
never
the
know.
marriage, you never know. If you inherit money during the marriage and you put it in joint names, or you put those funds into a marital asset, there are all kinds of things that can that can have an effect that you may or may not realize, that you may not want. I mean, these are things people don't think about when they're getting married, but when they're getting a divorce, they're the first, they're at the forefront. So those are all the things, I can't tell you how many times I give legal advice and I explain what the law is regarding, marital assets versus non-marital assets and who's entitled to what. And people are going, what? Are you kidding? For example, I worked for 20 years at my job and I have a 401k and I worked every day and contributed to that. And those are my earnings, but it's a marital asset. I have to split that in half. Are you kidding? So many people don't know that. And, it's one of those things those are the reasons why people do prenups. And it's, the reasons for the divorce can vary.
Right.
And so you don't know how you're going to feel about those things.
Wow. That's
at
great
that point.
advice.
Yeah.
Who would ever thought of that? And I'm going to tell just while I'm thinking about it, 'cause I was thinking about my divorce. Don't have a friend do it. Please, I'm telling you, do not have a friend do it, because I had a friend from college that did my divorce. And it was the worst. I mean, it was so bad. It's so, this is why we have you on here, because
Are they still your friend?
no, no, not even close. And you trust him because you're your friend. That's not a reason to trust an attorney. You trust an attorney because, look at your background. I mean, you've got it. That's all you do is family law. And I've got to tell you something, because I work with a lot of attorneys. You want to find someone who just does one thing. It's too hard trying to keep changing hats. You don't want to be in the middle of that. You want someone who knows. And I think also that, I know that when you have a lot of assets, it is so important to have someone who really knows what they're doing like you do.
Yeah. And sometimes, even the best attorneys and the best family law attorneys who specialize in that area and who are board certified, we still get other professionals involved. I mean, I've got plenty of cases I take a look at and I say, okay, we need a CPA. We need, a financial expert, because the assets are so complex, and, to figure out valuations of things and marital portions and non-marital portions and, contributions and just, years worth of accounting work. That you really need a professional. So, it can be very intricate, and, those things are necessary sometimes.
So don't Google, don't use good friends. Before we go to break, this is a no-fault state.
Correct.
I thought in my situation, it was no fault. It wasn't my fault.
Right.
But tell everybody what that means, though, in the state of Florida.
Well, what that really means technically is that in Florida we don't have to prove grounds to get a divorce. So you don't, like in other states, or in years past in other states anyway, they you would have to prove, for example, I think New York used to have grounds where you'd have to prove adultery or abuse or different things in order to be able to get the divorce. And so in Florida, we don't have to prove any grounds. What we say in the initial petition is that the marriage, like I said earlier, is irretrievably broken. And that's a legal phrase, and it means that the marriage is over. There's nothing the court can do to put it back together. Well, it depends how bad you want your divorce.
Okay, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, and what it also means, by extension, is that you put that in the pleadings. The other party, the judge is no one's ever going to ask, why. Or the judge,
Okay.
if you end up in front of a judge or in court, the judge is not going to ask, whose fault was this? And I want to hear about that. And I want to hear why the marriage broke down. What were the reasons and what happened over the years, and who wanted to go to counseling, who didn't, who wanted to try to work it out, who didn't, who filed first. They're not going to.
So what's the purpose of a judge then?
Well, the judge is going to determine unless you can settle your case, which actually is very high odds that you will. But if you can't settle your case, the judge is going to determine all the issues, such as who
assets,
gets,
mainly kids,
who gets what time sharing with the children. I mean, down to the most intricate detail. Who gets time sharing schedule, holiday schedule, how your assets are divided and distributed. If there's an alimony case, if it's an alimony case, and if so, how much?
Care less.
Yeah.
Or she could care less.
Or really as to why.
Okay.
They don't.
We're going to go to break. We come back. I've got so many questions for you. We're here with Tina Lewert. You can watch our show right now live, or you can actually go back to Tina's website. Give everybody your phone number.
Phone number is 561-544-6861.
And your website.
And the website is www.lewertlaw.com. Lewert is spelled Lewert.
We will be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show, Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time-sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact Attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
The show goes by so fast. We're here with attorney Tina Lewert. That's Lewert. Because if you want to, you can go right now to her website and watch the show live. It's www.lewertlaw.com. See, I wanted to spell it with the A, so I'm going to make sure
A lot of
you
people do that.
understand.
Common misspelling.
Tell everybody why they need an attorney, not to try to do this themselves. I guess unless there's just no assets at all, nothing, no children involved.
If there are no assets and no children, and really no issues, and it's just a divorce, and usually that doesn't happen unless the marriage is extremely short.
Yes.
And I mean extremely short, because I've seen marriages that were, a year or 2 years, and the divorce takes longer than the marriage was, because of who knows what, like I said, what was commingled or what became, or child-related issues. Time sharing sometimes is a big thing, but there are a lot of reasons. What I've seen is people that try to do it themselves, and in complex cases, which always surprises me, multiple homes, children, school-age children, where there's a time-sharing dispute, other assets, investments, and and they try to do all this, an alimony case
to save money,
and they try to do all this to save money, which I get. I totally understand. I mean, litigation can be very expensive, but the fact is that the odds are in favor of settlement. I mean, there's a certain statistic. I don't know what it is. I've heard different things. I've heard people say, only 3% of cases go to trial. I've heard 5%. It's something like that. It's probably less than 10%. So the odds are that you're going to settle your case. Every effort is made during the case to resolve the case. Typically, there's a requirement to go to mediation. The judges want you to try and settle your case, especially when there are children involved. You should have a say in your own future as opposed to going in front of the judge, who is basically a stranger who, even when qualified, they don't know you. They don't know you. They don't know your children. They don't know your life. And they may do something that, that no one's happy with. So, of course, every effort is made to resolve the case. But if you do that and you make those efforts and everybody behaves reasonably and comes in with qualified lawyers who know what they're doing and can give good advice and good guidance to the clients, it's well worth it to spend the money on that and to settle the case as opposed to litigating, obviously. So, and to not have to come back later. I've had people, like I said, with big cases, big issues, and they try to settle it themselves. They do some form agreement or something they found on the internet. I don't even know. Some fill in the blank thing, and then they think and later, sure enough, there's something that always comes up later, some issue they didn't think of that's not in there.
Well, you have
or
this
something
huge checklist. I mean, in your mind, you have this huge checklist. There's no way someone would know everything that has to be done.
Yeah, every time I talk to a client about a case, or every time we prepare for mediation, there are things I'm bringing up and bringing to their attention that they're going, wow, I never even thought of that. I wouldn't have even thought to think about that. I didn't know we had to resolve that issue, or think, and it could be anything from, how you're going to file the taxes next year to who's going to get the child dependency exemption on that, and just things that come up later after the fact if you haven't covered them in your settlement agreement. And that's a good lawyer's job, is to think of all those things so that, think of all the what ifs to protect them now and resolve them now so that they don't happen later and there's no answer to the question. Then you have to go back and possibly spend more money or more time and more headache than you initially would have.
Well, I'm going to say this again. I think anybody who, listen, everybody has websites, but to find an attorney, Googling them, a friend, a relative, I'm telling you, you are the expert. You're one of the few attorneys who can say that you're an expert in family law.
Correct.
So, because you've done extra school.
Right. The board certification, yeah. So the board certification is...
There's not a lot of certified family attorneys.
There are only something like 300-ish, that's my round number, family law attorneys who are board certified in Florida out of over
the whole state.
100,000 attorneys, yeah.
Wow.
The state, only a few hundred of us have ever been board certified. So, it's a small pool of individuals, but it's something that I think, I'm happy and proud to offer my clients, and to be able to say that I have the skill and the knowledge and the experience, and there's a certain level of trial experience and number of trials and things like that, and a high standard of ethics.
And
that
the judges, I mean, like on a professional level, and they know how you work. So I would think that's good too. They know that you know what you're doing.
Yes, and I feel good about that because when you have an attorney who practices in an ethical manner and who's responsible and who takes issues into court only when they really cannot be resolved and they really need to go into court, something that's just impossible to get resolved. I feel like the judges know that about me, and so I think I have a good reputation.
If you go to court, is it decided by a judge or jury?
It's a judge. In family law, it's just a judge.
Just a judge, okay.
So like I said, it's one person, and so it's risky. And, any attorney will tell you that what's the judge going to do about this or that, or how's the judge going to decide X, Y, or Z issue? The truth is, we can never know. We don't have the crystal ball. I can say, oh, well, this judge, in my experience with this particular judge, that judge may like to do this, or may like to lean this way, or maybe the judge likes to give big alimony awards or small alimony awards, or whatever they tend to have done in the past. But the truth is, every case is different. Every set of facts is different. Every family is different. Every divorce is different. So when you go in and you present something, you just never know what the judge is going to do. And so that's the risk that people face going into court. They could have their best day, they could have their worst day. A lot of times they get something in the middle, but typically when you go into a divorce case for divorce trial, you've got, 10 to 20 issues you're dealing with or more sometimes. And, it may not balance the way that you hope. And so it's much better, like I said, when you're trying to resolve things, you have a say. It's a mediation and settlement it's self-determined. So you have a say, even if you're making compromises, but it's worth those compromises a lot of times to avoid the risk of what the judge might do that you might not like.
How do you know when to bring in a forensic person? Like you think, especially for women, they think maybe the husband is hiding some assets. Mm-hmm. But it could get really expensive. Mm-hmm. So how do you know when's the right time to bring in a forensic person?
Yeah, you're right. The forensic accountants, frankly, can be, more costly sometimes than the attorneys,
right.
but also worth it if you have. A lot of times when there's a business, I mean, that's the big one. When you have, for example, someone who owns a business, is a shareholder in a business or a partner in a business, or who, an individual with a professional practice who's like maybe a doctor or a lawyer like myself. The government says, the IRS says that you can write things off as business expenses and tax deduct this and that, but the family court is looking for, okay, but what's your real income? For example, a typical person who runs a business may pay their health insurance and their a cell phone bill and things like that
Everything
through
the business, right.
out of the business, and that's fine. And it's not the taxation of it or the tax deductibility of it or whatever. That's not our issue. The issue is, okay, but for child support purposes or
right.
alimony purposes, what's your real income? What are you really living off of? Because if you were a W-2 employee for someone else, you would have to pay those things out of your pocket typically, or they'd be reimbursed. So the goal is to get to the bottom line number. What's the real income? And also sometimes if the person has a business, what's the value of the business? That's also where an attorney's not qualified to value a business.
Right.
You need a forensic expert, a forensic CPA, or a business valuator, someone like that who's qualified to do those things and to make those determinations and prepare. They'll come into court and prepare exhibits, summaries, and charts and things, and then testify about how they came up with the numbers and things like that. So that's typically one of the main things. And if somebody thinks that the husband is hiding assets, like, for your example, that could be,
business owner is one of the red flags that you look at.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was an email we also got. It says, if I move out of my home and my spouse lives there while the divorce case is pending, have I abandoned any rights? Can my spouse claim I abandoned the home?
No.
Okay.
No. That's not, and I get that question a lot, actually. Everyone always talks about abandonment. Oh, I can't
Right,
move out because then they'll say I abandoned. No, you can move out. There's really no claim for that. If, and I usually tell people, listen, if you're, if it's better, especially for the children, if there are children in the house and there's people are quarreling and it's not good for the children to see that. Even if you're trying to shield them from it, it's just not good for them to be around that, the level of conflict and tension. I see all sorts of things happen and people's tempers escalate and then somebody files like a restraining order or something. It's just a bad road to go down. So I tell people, listen, if you have a place to go or, if you need to move out and that's just the right thing to do it, so no, there's really no claim for like, okay, this person abandoned the home and now they're not entitled to any equity in that asset. It's just not something that happens.
I always like to, last 2 minutes of the show, tell people why they should hire your firm.
You always ask
You can
me
be humble. I know, but
I know this is where I can't be humble, right?
Someone out there is thinking, I'm thinking about going through, and Tina sounds so wonderful, but tell them why they should hire your firm.
Well, like I said earlier, I think that one of the things, other than like we've talked about being board certified, I'm very proud to say that. I'm very proud
15 years.
I've been practicing 15 years. This is what I do. I know it well. My goal is always to give my clients, the absolute best results that they can get. I can't promise anyone results because, like I said, you never know what the judge is going to do, for example. But to advise my clients so that whether they settle their case or not, or they're doing the best things for themselves and their children. And I like to work together with my clients. I do, like I said, because I'm a sole practitioner. I have a lot of people that call me and say, if I hire your firm, am I going to get you or am I going to select someone else? So no, I'm very happy to say, no, I'm it. You're getting me. And, we're going to work together on the case and make decisions together. I like to give my clients I like to educate them a bit on the law. Why are we doing this or that? Why should we not pursue this avenue or another course of action and what the law is behind it? And sometimes, what a strategy may be based on my experience and what I know about the law. And so I like to give advice and then make decisions together with the client. So I think that's something that, like I said, I'm proud to do. And, I think that it's something that my clients are happy with.
I just think you live and breathe family law.
Like I said, my cell phone's on.
Every time she comes in, you look like you've had a day. But listen, it's a very emotional thing when family law. But we love having you on the show.
I really
and like I
here.
said, next month it's going to be on a Thursday, and we will let you know during the week what day Tina's going to be on. Thanks again. Give everybody your phone number and your website one more time.
Sure. The phone number is 561-544-6861, and the website is www.lewertlaw.com.
And if you just came in the middle of the show, you can actually go back and watch past shows, today's show, on her website. We will be back in about 2 minutes with our next guest, Gil Belu of Belu and Belu, and we'll be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact Attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit foreclosure. Don't lose your home due to foreclosures by the bank or mortgage company. Call the law offices of Belu and Belu at 954-596-0669. You have rights and we can help you exercise them. At Belu and Belu, your first consultation is always free. If your home is underwater or you are behind on your mortgage and you're confused about what to do, we can help. Call our office today, 954-596-0669 or 1-877-BELU-LAW. That's 1-877-BILU-LAW. At Belu and Belu, our lawyers